Hello, and welcome to another exploration episode of the Park Report. My name is Charlie, and I wanted to personally thank you for joining us on this adventure today. I would like to invite you to like and comment on this video. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It actually helps me go a long way. I have some goals in mind coming up for my subscriber count, and any help would be appreciated. First, let's explore the topic of a Zelda rumor at Epic Universe over at Universal. Let's head over to Reddit World as I've got an interesting post to talk about. All right. So this post was uploaded to Reddit by Din Jaris. They say, any truth to these rumors? Curious of where these rumors were originally sourced from. And then the post picture that was uploaded reads, Nintendo fans, brace yourself. The Legends of Zelda might be storming Universal's Orlando's Epic Universe. With the park opening May 22nd, 2025, rumors are blazing. A Master Sword medallion in the parking lot, Link in a stained glass window, and a Hyrule mosaic in the Nintendo Superstar store. That's a mouthful. Is it an expansion to Super Nintendo World or its own Epic portal? It's even been whispered that Zelda could take over the Lost Continent at Islands of Adventure, but with 2 expansion plots ready at Epic Universe, the hype is unreal. Universal's teasing the next thing, and this could be the Hyrule adventure to define theme park glory. So I wanted to go ahead and take a look and just refresh everyone's mind here. So back on December 8th, back on December 8th, 2020, Alicia Stella, if you don't know who Alicia Stella is, we'll talk about that in just a moment. Alicia Stella posted a video and an article with Orlando Park Stop. The title of the post says, Possible Zelda Ride Concept to Replace Lost Continent in Islands of Adventure. This was also way back when there were rumors that Super Nintendo World was being replaced in Kid Zone, which we know ended up getting changed over to Epic Universe. The other rumor at the time was that this was going to replace the Lost Continent located in Islands of Adventure. Now, the Sinbad show was already closed permanently, and the Poseidon's Fury walkthrough attraction was actually closed due to the pandemic. Since then, that attraction went through a closure, and then a reopening, and then a second permanent closure, which is the actual current state, so that's okay. Now, the big highlight at the time and even now is that the leaked ride patent system titled Hybrid Ride Vehicle Systems and Methods. Now, this is linked in this post here, and I have the links down below if you'd like to explore that old article that she came out with. The video is also shown as well. As you can see, if you wanted to rewatch that video, if you haven't watched it before, I definitely recommend giving it a shot. Now, with this leaked ride patent system, it starts out as a standard boat attraction. So think like Pirates of the Caribbean. It's a Small World, but then about halfway, through, the boat is actually picked up by a track system above our heads, and it offers a flying adventure over the Hyrule Kingdom, and that's again all part of that second half of the ride. Now, these words came straight from Alicia's article. I did not write them myself. However, she summed them up perfectly. I don't think there's any other way to really describe the way that the patent reads, the way that the figures show. So I just wanted to include that here as the description for this patent. However, again, these are Alicia's words. I took them right from the article, but I think they fit perfectly. So wanted to just make sure that she got credit. If you don't know who Alicia Stella is or have never watched any of their videos on their YouTube channel, I highly recommend going over and subscribing. Alicia is one of the top YouTube creators regarding theme parks, and she has actually been the #1 person to bring breaking news and coverage all about Epic Universe. The entire Epic Universe, even before it was even broken ground on, she was covering it. So I highly recommend if you can. I love that you subscribe to me if you can, but Alicia Stella at the Park Stop, great. amazing. So I would recommend heading over there and just checking out her channel if you haven't already. Now, of course, along with Alicia Stella in the park stop, we cannot forget about Bioreconstruct. They have consistently and constantly delivered flyovers of all the parks, including Epic Universe, and that's obviously under construction. So all of those flyovers, super amazing, super helpful. They've given us behind the scenes. If you know or follow anything about theme parks, I'm pretty sure that you have heard about Bioreconstruct. But I just wanted to give them a shout out here. Credit is due for both of them, and we truly cannot do it without them. So thank you. So back to the video. Here are images of the ride system patent from Universal. I just wanted to go through these. Now, looking at the patents, you can see how there's an overhead type of track system. Obviously, it's a boat ride in the beginning, which is really interesting. That's something, as far as a boat ride goes, it's pretty standard. However, for there to be a track system above that picks you up and makes you fly out of the water, that's something totally different, something totally new. So very interesting to see this. Again, there's in the second figure, it's figure 5. I believe it's listed out of order from the patent. It doesn't really matter though. It does give you a great visual of how that would work. So the boat's moving along, the system comes from behind, picks you up. You don't even realize that it's there, and you go over a waterfall. You think you're gonna jump up, not jump. You think you're gonna fall off the waterfall in this figure, and it scoops you up and it flies you around, which is really cool. So this is the potential track layout. You start again as a boat. You can turn the bend here. It looks like there are some opportunities for the boat to go sideways, even spin, or potentially be moved around. And then that second half of the boat ride, you can see where there is more of a track system and less of a lake or river, and you are flying over the attraction, which is great. So the patent does explain how the load area could utilize a conveyor system where the boat is moving at a constant speed. The boat would then be pushed into a free flowing water area. Now, what I'm envisioning here is this is the load unload area, and then it pushes you into the water. Now, the patent makes it very clear that the user would know that they're not tethered to a track system. It's going to be very apparent to them in the beginning that it's just a boat ride. There's nothing above them. It's just like you get on the Pirates of the Caribbean on It's a Small World, and you are on a boat in a boat. So it's going to be very interesting as far as that second portion. Now, it says that at the end of the water portion, a bogey, as I'm going to highly assume that that just means the overhead component of the attraction that picks you up. It says that a bogey traveling above the boat would couple with the ride vehicle, locking it into place, hopefully. The bogey and the track it travels on could pitch, yaw, and roll the vehicle as it moves along, which is very similar to most or quite a few attractions that move. So, what this is going to do is create a level of excitement. Can you imagine being in the air? First, you had no idea that this would even go to the air. You're in a boat, and then you start moving like on a Spider-Man ride, which is cool. So now it says that after dropping the boat off back in the water before unload, the bogey would continue on its track, and it would pick up the next boat in once it comes around the corner. So very interesting. There are additional figures and options regarding this particular ride system. It looks like in one of these figures, figure 7 and 9, it's picking up a van. This has nothing to do with Zelda, but it's a very interesting utilization of this patent. So I love to see that they included that as well. They are not only thinking about one particular ride, but they're thinking about multiple uses, which is great for them. It's also going to help them utilize this track system, this patent and ride system for more than one ride. So Universal is always thinking ahead. Now, I will say this is not uncommon. Disney has done the same thing. I'm sure we've all ridden rides that use the same similar ride system, the Omni Mover systems, like for instance, Haunted Mansion. We have the Finding Nemo ride. Those are Omni Mover. And yeah, so I did want to take a moment here to stop and thank you for sticking around this far in the video. Again, please don't like and comment on this video. Please subscribe. Again, it goes a long way of hitting my goal. I do want to get to my first 100 subscribers by the end of this month. It's just a few days away. If you're seeing this in the future, hopefully I have many, many hundreds of subscribers. But for now, I would love for you to help me out and come aboard and subscribe to my channel. So thank you very much for that. Now, I wanted to go ahead and talk about the expansion pads in all of the parks. So this is just in general. There are several. So there's an expansion pad behind Men in Black. It's kind of catty corner to Men in Black to the side. It's where those pop-up tents for Halloween Horror Nights are located. It's a lot of backstage area. There's a lot of staging areas back there. They may never actually use it to expand the park, but it is an expansion lot that's available if they needed to. Now, the second area in Universal Studios is the backlots of Universal Studios Florida. And what I mean by that is not the sound stages. This is not the area where they have those sound stages for television, for movies. This is not where they host the Halloween Horror Nights houses. This is backstage. Think about behind the Diagon Alley area, sorry. The behind Fast and Furious, behind the Mummy area. There's a bunch of backstage buildings. So there's warehouses, there's an HR building, there is a team member wardrobe area, there's break rooms, lots of backstage areas. A lot of that is moving over to behind Epic Universe because they have so much space. And the thought here, the rumor here, light rumor, is that that is all going to be going away once the support buildings open up behind Epic Universe. More so the warehouse facilities, potentially even human resources. It's possible. Again, it's not really known. It's not really talked about. To be honest, I don't think really even anyone knows about these particular topics, mostly because it has nothing to do with a guest area right now. This is all backstage. But if they get rid of those facilities and they move them over to Epic, behind Epic, that would free up a lot of space. There's quite a bit of space backstage in the non-guest areas that could be expanded upon. And I really could see Universal utilizing that space in the future. So, all right. Talking more specifically about Zelda, and if Zelda were to not be expanded upon at Epic Universe, which is right next to the existing Super Mario World, I should say Nintendo World, the next two options would be Lost Continent. That was the major rumor on where it was actually going to go. And then the other area is Toon Lagoon. Now, with Toon Lagoon, it's outdated. A lot of people probably are not familiar with those cartoons. I mean, they are, in terms of media, they are ancient. I'm not saying that they're not relevant. I know that a lot of people probably are aware of them. However, I doubt that younger kids, younger generation, Generation Z, they probably have no idea who these characters are. I mean, newspapers don't really exist. They are out there, of course, but it's not like back in the day where you would get the newspaper delivered and you would be able to read the comics. Yes, so this would be an expansion of sorts. They could probably, more than likely, update or do a facelift to the current attractions, add in a Zelda type attraction or two, and then where the theater is, the Toon Lagoon Theater, where the Rocky and Bullwinkle show used to be, that could be a new attraction. It's a relatively big space, relatively big attraction. There is a restaurant right in the middle, right next door to it, so I don't see them expanding too much. Will it hold an actual attraction? Probably, I don't think so. I don't think it's big enough So they would have to either retrofit the current attractions there or get rid of them all and just start over fresh. So Universal has the money. Comcast is there. They are a multi-billion-dollar company. They can definitely afford it. And for them to be putting in expansions, not only at Universal in Orlando, but around the world, um, they have shown that they have the money and they're willing to invest in the parks. So now the last spot here, I just recently touched on it, was the expansion plots next to the Super Nintendo World and Epic Universe. Looking at an overview of the park. Now, this is an older overview. This is from Alicia Stella at the Orlando Park Stop. This is an older post back before Epic Universe was really built fully. So, yeah, so the Super Nintendo World is currently 8.5 acres approximately. The expansion pad right next to it is 7 acres. So just imagine a whole nother world with Hyrule in Zelda. The Super Nintendo world includes the Mario area plus Donkey Kong Country. So adding on an additional 7 acres to that is going to be wild and it really exciting. So now I did want to ask you here, what are your thoughts on where a Zelda land could go? Please write this in the comments here. I would really be interested to know. I am interested to know what your thoughts are. If it's not a Zelda land or world, what other IPs could go into these spots, and what would you like to see? Uh, think and dream big. First up is the Universal's Horror Unleashed project in Las Vegas. Universal says coming to Las Vegas in August of 2025. Now, Universal Horror Unleashed, I'm going to go ahead and read this description here. I think it's just going to give us a better overview of the project. And if you've never heard of it, if you're not an HHN fan, Halloween Horror Nights fan, I understand, but I think this is going to definitely help you understand the project a little bit more. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and read the synopsis that Universal has here on the website. All right, so enter the evils of 4 haunted houses, each with their own terrifying stories: Universal Monsters, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Scarecrow, The Reaping, and Blumhouse's The Exorcist, Believer. Surrounding the haunted houses are 4 fully themed immersive entertainment areas, each with its own unique live horror experiences, plus decadent food and drink offerings in select areas. What does that look like? No idea. There are not much concept images about this particular experience and attraction in Vegas. However, it's very exciting to see that this is being expanded upon outside of Universal. To continue here, it says that your deepest fears are closer than you think. Get ready to experience the nightmare in a year-round, fully immersive, high-quality horror spectacle that brings your greatest fears to life. Again, there are 4 haunted houses slated for this year-round attraction. Again, Universal Monsters, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Scarecrow the Reaping, and The Exorcist Believer. When it comes to admission tickets, there's a $59 for Nevada residents single-time access ticket. There's a $69 for general non-resident single-time access ticket. And then there is a $99 for unlimited times through the houses for 1 day. So you can either choose to do one visit to each house for general admission, or an unlimited experience for $99, which is great. Now, this is located approximately 10 minutes from the Strip and downtown Las Vegas. It says that using rideshare like Lyft and Uber, it is strongly encouraged because parking is very limited. And then it says to note that the valet parking is not available. So it's either going to be self-parking in that limited parking lot or rideshare. Universal Horror Unleashed is located at Area 15, which is already going to be a popular area to visit. And this is going to restrict access to minors at certain times of the week. And there is a chaperone policy as well. Very interesting stuff here on this project. I'm interested to see more. Hopefully, we'll get more updates soon. I'm sure we will once we get closer to probably Epic opening. We probably will hear more. We might not even hear anything until after Epic opens, but still very exciting. Cannot wait. All right. The second major project that I wanted to touch base on today was the Universal UK project. In 2023, it says that they purchased approximately 700 acres just south of Bedford, and they have a goal of exploring a potential new theme park and resort experience at this site. They held engagement sessions for the public in April and May of 2024, and there has not been any additional updates, at least officially, on this particular website. I'm going to link this down in the description as well, in case you wanted to take a look at it. Now, there was an update by media back in January of this year, of 2025. So on January 30th of 2025, the BBC posted an article, and it's titled Universal UK Resort Talks Ongoing, says government. Treasury Minister Darren Jones declined to give a date when we would hear any updates and said negotiations were ongoing. On January 30th, 2025, the BBC posted an article titled Universal UK Resort Talks Ongoing, says government. Treasury Minister Darren Jones declined to give a date when we would hear any updates and said that negotiations were ongoing. And he added a comment, and I quote, it says, I hope to come back shortly with updates. This was back in January of this year, just a couple months ago. Again, we have not heard anything. Very interesting to hear and see. Again, another exciting project, a whole nother theme park, just like Epic. It's probably going to be more indoors, but more to come on that. Well, that's going to wrap us up here at the Park Report. Please, again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. My journey to that 100 subscribers is still ongoing at this moment, so please help me out there. This has been your Park Report.